Start today, focused on God. The morning didn't announce itself with miracles. No thunder, no voices from heaven. Just a quiet dawn stretching over the city, pale light slipping through the cracks of another ordinary day. Eli woke before the alarm. That alone felt unusual. He lay there staring at the ceiling, heart heavy, mind already racing, bills unpaid, promises delayed, prayers that felt like they had been floating unanswered for too long. The kind of thoughts that usually rushed in and took control before his feet even touched the floor. But that morning, something interrupted the pattern. A small thought, almost fragile, yet clear. Start today focused on God. Eli didn't argue with it. He didn't analyze it. He simply sat up. Usually, his phone was the first thing he reached for. Messages, news, comparisons, noise. Today, his hand hovered, then dropped to his side. Instead, he bowed his head. God, he whispered, voice rough with sleep and honesty. I don't know how today will go, but I give it to you. No fancy words, no long speech, just surrender. The room didn't change, but something inside him did. A quiet shift, like a compass finally pointing north. As he got ready for the day, the familiar anxieties tried to return. They always did. But this time, instead of wrestling them alone, Eli placed them somewhere else. God, this too is yours. On his way to work, the traffic was worse than usual. Horns blared, tempers flared. A week ago, he would have joined the chaos. Today, he breathed deeply and prayed for patience, for himself, and even for the stranger who just cut him off. It surprised him how quickly peace answered. Not perfection, not silence, but peace. At work, the test came early. A meeting he had been dreading. The same conversations, the same pressure, the same fear of not being enough. As voices filled the room, Eli felt the old tightening in his chest. Then he remembered, focused on God. Silently, he prayed, Lord, order my words, guard my heart. And his turn came to speak, his voice didn't shake. He spoke truthfully, without fear, without pride. Not everything went his way, but something better happened. He walked out without regret. During lunch, Eli sat alone. The bench felt cold. The city noise buzzed around him. He pulled out his phone this time, not to scroll, but to read a verse he had underlined months ago and forgotten. Seek first the kingdom of God, and all these things shall be added to you. He smiled softly. First, not last, not left over. The afternoon stretched long. Fatigue crept in. Doubt whispered again. Is focusing on God really changing anything? Then something small happened. A coworker stopped by his desk, someone who usually kept distance. They talked, really talked, about struggles, about faith, about hope. Eli realized God wasn't only working on his day, he was working through it. By evening, the weight he usually carried home felt lighter. Not gone, but lighter, like a burden being shared. At home, Eli resisted the urge to collapse into distractions. Instead, he sat quietly. No music, no screens, just stillness. At first, it felt uncomfortable. Then it felt sacred. Memories surfaced, painful ones, moments of regret, questions with no answers. Normally, this was where fear took over. But tonight, he spoke them out loud to God. I don't understand everything, he admitted. I don't see the full picture. But I trust you enough to keep going. And in that quiet space, something settled deep in his spirit. God doesn't promise an easy day. He promises his presence. As night wrapped the city in shadows, Eli reflected on the day. No dramatic breakthrough, no sudden wealth, no instant solutions. Yet the day felt different, because it had been centered, not scattered, anchored, not anxious, given, not gripped. Before sleeping, Eli whispered one last prayer. "Thank you for walking with me today. Tomorrow, I choose you again." The light went out, and somewhere between breath and rest, a truth anchored itself in his heart. When you start today focused on God, you don't escape life, you learn how to live it with Him. And that changes everything. Changes